Shalom, everybody. Honestly, I'm doing last week's Torah portion, which was Naso. I pray I'm pronouncing it right. We had picked Brother Mackenzie, and he fell asleep on us. Um, and I honestly haven't had time to sit down and actually just go in. This week I'm teaching, so I'm trying to focus on that. But honestly, I've been on been online, and I've been just reading. I did read uh chapter 4 of Numbers, verse 21, all the way to chapter 7, verse I think it was 89, and then the half Torahs and stuff like that. But I need literally at least almost about a full week, because that's just how I am, and that's how the Lord speaks to me. And this is just, I'm just trying to get this down and share what I found interesting, and what I've been reading, even searching through the internet. I mean, that's how we learn. We ask Abba to reveal to us. We search. We do our own research. That I would like to have put it on Microsoft Word and listed it the way I did on my last Torah portion. Yes, I would have loved that, but that's not the case this time around. So yes, the Torah portion was Nezota, and then in Hebrew it means to take up. So I'm going to start by the beginning of it. So Moses is instructed by Adonai to conduct a head count of the men who were between the ages of 30 to 50 years old, from the Levitical families of Gershon and Merari, along with the Kohathites, in order to perform service in the tabernacle and the tent of meetings. The men from Gershon were charged with the care of the outer tabernacle, including components such as the tent and its covering, the screens, doors, and hangings. They were to transport them from place to place, and then assist with setting up and breaking down the tent meeting, according to the instructions given by Adonai. Now, chapter 5 continues with what's called the sota, or a situation when a wife is suspected by her husband of being unfaithful, but there are no witnesses. The verses outline a solemn and unusual legal procedure that a woman underwent to establish her guilt or innocence. The woman was to drink what Scripture refers to as holy water, while accepting a solemn and earnest appeal from the high priest, stating that if in fact she was guilty, the potion would cause her grim and visible injury. This very unusual ritual was intended to remove suspicion of marital unfaithfulness from the midst of Israel. At the same time, it was designed to provide significant protection to the innocent wife in case of untrue allegations on the part of the husband. The wisdom of the ceremony was that it took judgment out of the hands of a possibly unreasonable and jealous husband, or the hands of an angry, murderous mob, as frequently happens in Islam countries, or even potentially corrupt judge, and put her face squarely in hands of just and wise God. Just and wise God. In fact, by means of this procedure, the wife is placed in a very direct and intimate relationship with the one true God, who alone would have the final word. Now, chapter 6 begins by presenting the laws of the Nazarite, an individual who has, by means of a voluntary vow, taken on a special sacred status. For the period of this vow, the Nazarite could not have contact with any dead body, not even that of his parents, nor was he permitted to consume any product of the vine, such as wine or grapes, or even grape juice, nor were they allowed to cut their hair. The Nazarites' restrictions were even greater than those of the Kohanim. For example, a priest was permitted contact with the dead if it concerned his immediate family. Also, while priests were prohibited from drinking alcohol while on duty in the sanctuary, it was permitted at other times, and they certainly were not forbidden to consume other grape products. Priests were allowed to trim their hair, but for the period of the vow. The Nazarite would not be permitted to do so. I like to conclude with Numbers chapter 6, verses 23 through 27, which describe the Aaronic blessing, a blessing that has been voiced countless times across thousands of years. To bless means to offer up something valuable or in abundance. Picture a beautiful fountain of water, giving life to all. When we connect the idea of a blessing to a pool or a fountain, we may come to realize that God is the loving, overflowing, abundant source of life, fullness, and wholeness. For example, the prophet Jeremiah rebuked the Jewish people for having abundant God, who had described himself as the fountain of living water. Many people mistakenly believe that the God of the Old Testament was vengeful, angry, uncaring God, but the blessing contained in the midst of the Torah shows how wrong this view is. On the contrary, Adonai, kind intentions and love toward his creation is made obvious. He desires that each one of us be whole and complete in him. I noticed that the minimum age was 30, which is the same age at which Yeshua began ministry. I submit that we should be spiritually mature and ready to serve the Lord by the time we reach the age 30. I was thinking about my younger brother. Yeah, it doesn't apply to him. Where was I? Okay, that's not to say that you can't start in an early age, Adrian, or even at a later age of life. But it would seem, according to Yeshua's example, 30 is the perfect age for full-time service to the Lord. When the Israelites, this part actually, I like this part. When the Israelites left Egypt, they left with an abundance of gold, jewels, and other valuables. Adonai had blessed the children of Israel richly through the Egyptians, but he didn't really bless them just so that they could have a lot of stuff. He wanted them to use their resources to serve a much greater purpose. That purpose being to worship of the creator of the universe. It reminds me of what I have read in the book of Revelations. When we get to heaven, we will be rewarded with crowns for our faithfulness during the stay here on earth. But these crowns will not be given to us as a fashion statement or a compare who has the greatest collection of crowns. Instead, we are going to place these crowns at the feet of Messiah Yeshua and worship. So when he blesses us, we give 10% of everything he gives us, we give back. Most of everything that he's given us doesn't really belong to us, it belongs to him. But another thing that did catch my attention through the whole reading was the repetitiveness of the offerings and stuff like that. One second, guys. So you could throughout this Torah portion, you could see the repetitiveness and the fact that, for example, I'm reading on chapter 7 verse 13, but it continues on with the same thing. It'll just move on to the next. So his offering was 1 silver platter, the weight of which was 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering. 1 gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb in its first year as a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of the peace offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs in their first year. This was the offering of Naso, the son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nethanel, the son of Zuar, leader of Issachar, presented an offering. For his offering, he offered 1 silver platter, and it continues. So I continued researching, and I would ask myself, why the same offering? Why continue with the same offering continuously? And so in Naso we see the offering by the leader of each tribe, and each offering is exactly the same. Torah could have just said each of the leader gave the offering of 1 silver bowl, 5 lambs, 1 year of age. Yet Torah does not give us a summary like that, but rather names the leader and his tribe. Lists the offerings followed again by the name of the leader. This is done for 12 days, 12 leaders who each brought the same items. After those 12 exact same offerings were listed, with only the names being different, Torah then gives a calculation summary. There were 12 bulls, 12 bisons, etc. Everything each leader offered multiplied by 12. In Torah learning, we have a leader that there are no. In Torah learning that we have a principle that there are no extra words in Torah. If something is in there, it is for a reason. So we have to learn to think until we understand that what Torah teaches us by saying the same thing over and over for 12 times. When he says meditate on his word, and when he's repeating something, it's to focus on that. And there's a reason for it. Before each leader's offering was listed, Torah tells us that the leaders came near to bring their offering on the day of the altar was anointed. They presented their offering in front of the altar. Then God instructed Moses that each leader should bring his offering per day. Per day. And then we read about each leader having his day and bringing his offering. They all at first brought their offering together, which I think is in the beginning of Numbers 4 verses 2-3. But God wanted each one to shine individually. We can learn from these actions the common goal of dedicating the altar and providing for what was needed, bringing together all at once, bringing the same offering, and no more or less, as to not show up anyone else. Not to show up anyone else. That was the purpose of bringing the same offerings. No one had to be better than anybody else. Nobody had to give more than anybody else. It was all the same. And with that, what was put into my head was, even when we give our tenth, we have people that get paid more, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that get paid more than me, and there are people that I get paid more than it, but still giving that offering, it's still the same. God doesn't see it any different. God doesn't see the next person better than me or me better than the next person. And even when it comes to giving our bodies to the Lord as living sacrifices, sometimes we allow emotions to get the best of us, and we sin by our actions and stuff like that, because sometimes we get clouded by our emotions and we act on them at times. And it was for example, I could lie to someone. It's still a sin. But then you can hear about someone else taking someone else's life. And I've seen videos like this where the person still forgives the man who takes their loved one's life. And the one who took the life is still forgiven. Meaning, there's no difference in our sin. It's the same, no matter how you see it. As long as you're true to your word and you give yourself to God and don't repeat the same actions again, and truly, honestly give yourself as a sacrifice to the Lord, He sees everything the same and He will forgive you. And then after that, there's just growth, there's elevation. You just keep elevating throughout life. So that's all I gotta share with you guys. I hope it's a little short. I can see the time from here. I'll be more prepared next time. I'm teaching this week, so I want to focus on that completely. I'm gonna choose Jasmine next. Jasmine, pick your brother next, and literally keep tabs on him and make sure he does it next time. Thank you guys for watching. Shalom. Love you guys. And again, this is always a blessing, because even through reading and stuff like that, looking at articles, I learn, you guys learn, and it just adds on. It builds us up. All right. God bless you guys.